Hi, and welcome to episode 25 of the Noble Character Crafts podcast. My name is Amy, and I am coming to you from eastern Nebraska, where I live on a farm with my husband and our 5 children. Today is Thursday, May 3rd, 2018. This is a podcast all about my life as a knitter, a crocheter, and a hand dyer of yarn. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. A huge welcome to any new or returning viewers. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to join me. You can find me online on Instagram and Etsy at Noble Character Crafts. You can find me on Ravelry at Noble Character, and I also have a group for this podcast in Ravelry at Noble Character Crafts Podcast in the Groups tab. You can find links to all of the places that you can find me down below in the down bar. You can also reach me through my email, which is noblecharactercrafts@yahoo.com. I was hosting a make-along, the I Think I Can make-along, which wrapped up on April 30th. So I did close the finished object thread for that make-along, and I will be announcing prizes for that make-along near the end of the episode. I have 2 finished objects to share with you today. The first one is the Lace Dress Body by Pernille Larsen. And I am so thrilled that I am done with this project. And I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. This was definitely a labor-intensive project for me. I did not enjoy most of it, but I'm glad that it turned out. I hope that it will fit the baby that it is intended for. Okay, so this is a fingering weight dress, and I used Knit Picks Lindy chain in the sagebrush colorway. I went down several needles to get gauge, which actually I still never did get gauge, and I had to adjust the size that I made. I used double zeros for just the beginning part. For the majority of the piece, I've made it using size 1 needles, 2.25 millimeter. All right, the dress construction starts with this onesie at the bottom. So as you can see, you can lift this dress part up, and underneath is a onesie. And so you start with 2 front and back pieces, and then you join them and work the majority of the onesie in the round. And then once you get to the correct length up here, you put this piece on hold, and then I started the dress part. And so then you work the dress from the bottom up as well. I was wanting to make a size 9 month for this, but since my gauge was off, it was still too loose, even though I went down several needles. I followed the stitch instructions for the stitch counts for the 3 month size. And then for the dress part, I cast on the correct amount for the 3 month size, but I followed the 9 month size chart so that it would give me some extra length. However, when I got done with the lace dress section, it was still too short. I was supposed to, once I finished the chart, right here you can see, I was supposed to attach it to the underside. But as you can see, I continued to work a stockinette stitch up to, you can see the line where it attaches to the back piece right here. And it was still too short, so that's why I did that, because it was coming, about 2 inches shorter, because I added about 2 inches of stockinette. So it was coming, it's kind of hard to tell, but when I held it up to the onesie piece, the dress was hitting like right here, where the end of my finger is there, about 1 inch from the top of the leg opening, which was just funny looking. So instead of trying to attempt to continue in the lace pattern, I thought I'm just going to do this in stockinette. So that's what I did. I continued in stockinette for 2 more inches and then attached it to the bottom section. Last time I recorded a podcast, I was about right here. I was about halfway through the lace pattern. So I worked on this pretty much exclusively since I recorded last. because I was just tired of having this on the needles and I wanted to get it done. This is, well, actually, if you haven't tuned in before, this is actually the second time that I had to make the onesie. I was about halfway through the onesie piece when I realized that the one that I was making was way too large, and so that's why I had to start over and make this. So it just kind of adds to the point that this project took me a lot of time and a lot of effort, and I had a lot of problems with it. Anyway, so I finally did attach it then to the bottom piece, and then you just start working in the round up to the arm openings, and then you work back and forth on the front and the back pieces. Here is the back opening, and this in the pattern is supposed to have a button closure right here, but I'll explain that in a little bit why I didn't do that. So you work up to the top, and then you all around the neckband, the arms, and the legs, you work an I-cord edging to finish it off, which was really nice. But I first did the arms, and then I did the neck closure. And when I closed up the neck, here I'm going to take it off the hanger. When I closed up the neck, when I put the I-cord band around the neck, I realized that the neck opening was way too small for a baby's head. Okay, so here you can see that the pattern does not call for these buttons to be here on the shoulder. It calls for it all to be closed, although the pattern isn't very detailed at all. Just as a side note. Anyway, so this is the neck opening that it's supposed to have. There's supposed to be a button right here on the back, like I mentioned, to close it up, but no baby's head is fitting through this. I measured it, and it's only 12 inches in circumference. So I had already finished the I-cord edge for the armholes and the neck, and I had to undo part of the neck piece, and then I had to open up this shoulder strap. So I did that. I had to kind of fix the I-cord edging so that it would go around this whole space. And so now the opening for the head is much larger. Hopefully it'll be okay. And then there are instructions to add buttonholes along the leg opening in the pattern for these two side buttonholes, and I use those same instructions to add buttonholes to the I-cord edging up here on the shoulder piece. So hopefully this will fit the little baby girl that this is going to, which, by the way, I made this for a lady that I go to church with who just had a great niece born at the beginning of the year. So that's who this is intended for. And I don't know that family or the girl that this is going to, but I certainly hope that they appreciate it. I don't know if it's possible that they're going to be able to appreciate the amount of time and effort that I put into this beautiful little project that it just took me so long. It was so hard. It was not enjoyable, but I'm glad that I'm done with it. Let's see, is there anything else to say? I think that's it. Oh, I know. I had purchased this onesie, which is a 6 to 9 month size, thanks to the suggestion of a viewer. And because I wasn't sure when I was first making this, I'm like, how am I going to tell if this is even the right size, you know? So look, they do match. It's a pretty good match for sizing. So the dress is actually just a little bit narrower through the waist here, but I'm hoping that it will stretch enough to fit. And if it doesn't fit, I really hope that they don't tell me. I don't want to know. I just want to gift this to them and be done with it. I am done. I'm done with it, and I am so over this project. Anyway, it's still wet, which is really strange. I finished it on Monday, and I soaked it, and laid it out to block, and I had it all pinned down, on, you know, a towel and on the floor. And I waited 24 hours before I unpinned it, just because, you know, of course I wanted to get that lace blocked out nicely, which I think it did block out well. But I took it up after 24 hours, and, you know, there's 4 layers of fabric here that are all pressed down on the floor. I'm like, that's never going to get dry. So I took it off of the blocking towel after 24 hours, and yet it's still wet. Today is Thursday. And the underside of the onesie is still wet. I mean, it's not terribly wet, but it's a little damp yet, which is crazy. So I'm glad I took it off of the floor and have been having it hung up since then. Anyway, it's done. I'm so grateful that I'm done with it, and I finally got it completed. I'm just glad I'm done with it. I'm glad I was able to make it for her, but it was not an enjoyable process by any means. Really, honestly, my least favorite project ever. Sadly, but true. All right. My next finished object was not difficult at all. I was pretty much done with it last time I recorded an episode. I showed you this long time unfinished object that had been languishing for over a year. And all I had to do was seam up a few of these hexagons to join them, and then weave in quite a few ends on the back side. So this is just a scrappy hexy Afghan that I will probably have to insert a picture for because I won't be able to fit it into the frame. But I used all scraps of black, white, and gray yarn in worsted weight. And it's just my own hexy pattern that I did put a project page up for this project. So you can go to the project page, and if you want to have a look at the pattern that I followed. I used a size H hook, which is a 5mm crochet hook. And so I just worked 2 rounds of the first color, 1 round of the second color, and 1 round of the third color. And then I joined them just by sewing them all together using a mattress stitch, which makes a really nice finish, but it's very labor intensive. So I will show you the back side. I was able to finish weaving in all the ends. I think every time I look at it, I find one more little tiny end that's poking out, which will probably continue to occur as we use it. This is just going to be a family blanket that we use to cuddle up in. And yeah, I am just really glad that I decided to finish this off. I had thought of making it larger to make it more of a rectangular shape, but I have not wanted to work on this, and it's just been laying around for over a year not being used, and so I thought I'm just going to finish this up and we can use it. So it's a good lap size. If I while I was weaving in all the ends, I was able to cover up with it easily, especially if I work from, you know, one point to the next, because that's the longest length of it, you know. So anyway, glad to be done with this, and I think it's really fun and bold, and I am happy to have it part of our blankets and for our family to use. So anyway, this is all just acrylic yarn, nothing's fancy here, so it'll be easy to wash, which is nice for all of our kids that will be using it. All right, I did not work on much this week since I worked, like I said, I worked almost solely on that baby dress. So I didn't get a lot of time to put into any other works in progress, but I did put a little bit of time into my transitions shawl, which is in this bag by Tanai Casey. And it is good at collecting lint, but it's beautiful. And the transitions shawl is by Hand Knit by Cam. And I'm getting very close to the end of this project, which is very exciting. And I'm loving it so much still. There are tons of stitches on the needles now. I am just over 600 stitches on the needles now. So though I haven't made a lot of progress in, you know, length of the project, keep in mind that I was working almost 600 stitches. I just increased now to have 603 stitches or something like that. Anyway, last time I recorded, I was right there where that stitch marker or that progress keeper is marking. And so I was able to work through the rest of this stripe sequence. And all that's left now is the border section. So let me see if I can show you. Oh, I don't have the picture with me. Well, on the bottom is like what looks like a ribbed section, but it's not actually a rib, I don't think. But anyway, it's more of a textured section that goes along the bottom of the shawl. So I'll show you in its entirety here a little bit better. You can't really see it very well, but you get the idea. It's a 3/4 shaped shawl, which I love. I'm so excited to have. I've never had this shape of a shawl before, but I've been really interested in having one. So that's why I was especially excited about this design, was because I really wanted to try this shape for a shawl. I'm using all of my own hand-dyed yarn on, let's see, on several different bases. The main color here is, here's what I have left of it. I weighed it this morning and I have 24 grams of this left over. I'm all done using this color in the shawl. And this is on my Solace base, which is my MCN base, 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. And it is on my Thought colorway. So it's just a light neutral base with light specks of light brown, which you can barely see there. You can see it better in the shawl. So this main color here. Then the other color, the next color I used is this peach color, and I'm all done with that as well. And I have 32 grams of this left. And this is on my Pitter Patter base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And this is on my Humble colorway. And then the next colorway I used is striped right here in between these peach stripes. And it's very similar to Thought, but it has a few specks of a coral color. I don't know if you can see it very well there, but in the skein you can see it a bit better, I think. There's a good splotch of that coral color mixed in with the light brown as well. This is on my Twinkle Toes base, which is Gold Stellina base, 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% Gold Stellina. And this is on my Integrity colorway. And the last color I'm using is this brown color is my Good Sense colorway. This is on a sample base that is 70% superwash merino, 20% silk, and 10% cashmere. And this was just a sample skein that I was testing from my supplier, but I am not using or stocking in my shop right now. But it's a beautiful base as well. So I will use the Integrity colorway for the majority of that border that goes next. And then at the very end, I will add a few rows of the Good Sense colorway to finish it off. So I'm really pretty close to the end, and I'm hoping I can finish this within the next week or so and be able to use it before it gets way too hot to wear a shawl. Although, you know, I can put a shawl into use year round, because, you know, when you go into air conditioning, it's nice to be able to have a shawl that you can just carry if you don't need it, but if you do need it, you know, you can wrap up in it to stay warm. So anyway, I am just absolutely loving this design. It's so beautiful. I highly recommend it for an easy, you know, it's all of this is stockinette, so it's super easy. I actually timed myself this morning to see how long it took me to get across all these 600 stitches, and it took me 20 minutes. Is that right? 21 minutes to do a knitted row, and it only took me 20 minutes to do the purl row. I couldn't believe I was faster purling than knitting. Maybe that was just a fluke. Maybe I should retime myself. But anyway, I just thought that was super interesting. So I think maybe working on this has helped my purl, you know, my ability to purl. You know, I've had a lot of practice, and I really don't mind purling at all. So anyway, Obviously, I guess I'm faster at it than knitting. That's crazy. Anyway, yeah, I'm so happy with this project. I love it so much, and I'm so excited to have the finished product as well. So I did not work on anything else until just like a few hours ago when I was working, doing schoolwork with my children. I homeschool our children. And I usually have a knitted project that I can work on while I'm working with them. But I don't get a lot of time to actually work on it. So I was going to pick up my shawl, because that's really the only other thing I had been working on. I haven't touched my Asher cardigan at all this week. But I wanted to have something to work on while I was working with my kids with their schoolwork, and I didn't want to, I have to start a new pattern now with the border of the shawl, and so I didn't want to have to try to start that. So I cast on a new pair of socks, but you'll see how much time I have to work on while I'm working with the kids, because there's barely anything here. I think I've got like maybe, I'm on my third row. So I'm actually making the Sweet Sadie socks, which is a pattern by Alyssa Greenlaw. And you'll see this after a bit, because this is one of the prizes for the I Think I Can Make Along. So she also gifted me a copy. Thank you so much, Alyssa. And I decided to cast these on. So you start with a crocheted provisional cast on, and then I'm just working stockinette now, but like I said, I've only done 2 rows, or 3 rows maybe. But I am using my Spring Rain colorway, which is on my Pitter Patter base, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and very fitting that I am using this colorway because we have had some spring rain, you know, it's appropriate for this season. And I just happen to have this extra skein from another pair of socks that I made, and I only used a little bit of this in them. So I thought it would be perfect because these are ankle socks. There is an option to make these socks longer, but I am going to be making the ankle sock style. And that will be my first pair of shorty socks, so I'm excited to have some. I have mentioned before that I like my socks to be longer, but I thought it would be really nice to have a pair of shorties to wear in the summertime when, you know, I'm not really so cold, but my feet sometimes tend to get cold, but I might not want longer socks on my legs. So anyway, not much to share here, but I am using size 0 needles right now. You just use size 0 for the first part of the cuff, and then I'll switch to size 1 needles. But the 0s are 2mm, and then the 1s are 2.25. I'm using Chow-Gu needles. That's what I use for all of my projects. These are my mini twist interchangeable set, and I cast on 64 stitches for these. So hopefully I'll get a little bit of work done on those this week as well. I forgot to mention the needle size for my shawl, which is size 3, but let me look at the millimeter because I never remember that. It is 3.25mm, which is what the pattern calls for. So just FYI. I haven't even put this project into a project bag yet, so like I said, I just picked it up a couple hours ago. So that is all that I've worked on this week. I feel like it's not very much, but it is what it is. Anyway, I have an abundance of squares to share with you for the 2018 collaboration Afghan, which I'm so excited about. So I am collaborating with 48 independent dyers of yarn and have asked them to knit or crochet a 7-inch square and mail it to me. And then I'm going to be stitching all of those squares together into an Afghan that will then, once completed, be sent to Lisa of Indie Untangled. It will be on display at the Indie Untangled Trunk Show in October. And at that event, you will have an opportunity to win the Afghan if you are able to attend. So it's super exciting to have this project coming together, and I have a lot of squares to share with you. So the first one is from Planck and Stella. Here is her business card. And here is her beautiful square. This is on her, oh, here it is. This is on her Uniku colorway on her Akame sock base. Sorry if I mispronounced those. I think that's what it is. So that's beautiful. Those colors are stunning. Thank you so much, Melissa. The next one is from Cedar Hill Farm Company. Another bright and beautiful one. This is on their We're All Mad Here colorway. And the base is their Rocket Sock Base, 75-25 Superwash Merino Nylon Blend. Here is the owner's business card. Thank you so much. The next one, here's a clue of who the next one is from. Any guesses? I thought that was so cute. This is from Gabi of Once Upon a Corgi. And here is her beautiful square. I love this pattern she chose to use. So beautiful. This is on her Blood Moon colorway. So pretty. And Gabi has a podcast. If you aren't familiar, it is called Once Upon a Corgi as well. So you should definitely check out her podcast if you haven't yet. Thank you so much, Gabi. Okay, the next one is from Lavender Loon Company. And this is on their Plush colorway. Looks like a corner-to-corner crochet square. And they were able to attach a tag, which is so nice. Can you read that? Maybe? Beautiful. Thank you so much. All right, the next one is from Molly of Molly Klein Design. Look at this pretty springy one. So delicate and beautiful. She was able to attach a little tag too. So cute. Here is, she actually has two cards because she's Molly Klein Design on Etsy, I believe. Yes, I'm sure it is. Yes, Molly Klein Design on Etsy, but her yarn line she calls Sweet Tea Yarns, so she has both of these. And this colorway is on her James and the Giant Peach colorway, and it's on her Sweet Sock Fingering 75-25 Superwash Merino Nylon Blend base. So beautiful. Thank you. All right, the next one is from Spencer Hill Naturally Dyed Yarn. This is on their colorway Umbrella Drink. And as the business name suggests, she does dye her yarn naturally. And so let me try to pronounce what it is dyed with. It is, I think it's, well, here, I'll put it up here so you can read this maybe on your own. I think it's pronounced Weld and Cockneill, maybe. But there, maybe you can just read it. But isn't that stunning? Oh, so pretty. She included this little pin, so I just attached it to her square. Some people, as you'll see, did that on their own, but she just included that in the package. I thought, well, I'll just put that on her square so that that can be representative of her square. So beautiful. That. All right, the next one is from Claire of Autumn and Indigo Fibers. This is her pink hairspray colorway, and it is on her Luster sock base. Beautiful. That's so pretty. Thank you so much, Claire. All right, the next one is from Meg of Bad Wolf Girl Studios. And Meg has a podcast too. If you aren't already watching, you definitely should. She's wonderful. Here is her beautiful square. And this is on her The Doctor's Ugly Christmas Sweater colorway. And it is also on her 75-25 base Superwash Merino Nylon Blend. And she also included a pin. I'm pretty sure she had already put hers on there, so I think maybe that was the first one I'd seen that had done that, and I was like, well, that's perfect. Just put a pin on there. Perfect. Thank you so much, Meg. All right, the next one is from Tommy of Moonstone Dye Works, which I have mentioned before has a podcast. So her podcast is called Squirrel Pie Productions. And she sent this beautiful square. This is just extra yarn that she left attached to it, which was so smart. I'll use that to sew in this square to all the others. Here's her beautiful, ooh, that might not show up very well because it's so shiny and gorgeous, but it says Moonstone Dye Works. And this is on her Evane colorway. So pretty. And she also sent a tea for me, which was so nice. Thank you so much, Tommy. All right. We're making our way through here. The next one is from Bethany of Mulberry Fiber Company. And here is her beautiful square. This is on her macaron colorway on the smooth sock base. Look like little butterflies in there, don't they? So pretty. Thank you, Bethany. She also has a podcast, Mulberry Fiber Company. And another podcaster, Julie of Sweet Sparrow Yarns, sent this beautiful square. Isn't this gorgeous? Oh, I love that lace she did. This is on her Blueberry Mousse colorway. And it's on her Hummingbird base, which is 50% merino and 50% silk. It's luxurious. So pretty. Definitely check out her podcast as well. She is such a lovely lady. Thank you so much, Julie. The next one is from Angie of Camel City Dye Works. This is her signature colorway on her Trinity HT base, which is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% cashmere and 10% nylon. Here is her beautiful square. That's gorgeous. Thank you so much, Angie. The next one is from Sandpiper Yarns. And Sue actually hand spun this yarn. It is her Water Lily colorway. And that is stunning. So beautiful. Thank you so much, Sue. That's extra special that you spun the yarn too. The next one is from Stephanie of Asylum Fibers. This beautiful square is on her Bad Bad Girl colorway on the Solitary base. There's her pin. That's stunning. That colorway is so gorgeous. There's little pops of blue in there. Can you see? Tiny little bits of blue. So pretty. Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, the next one is from Emily of Emmy Couture. She also has a podcast, which I love so much. She's so talented. She's like multi-talented. Look at this adorable card that she sent. And look right there. That's her signature. She did this. She illustrated this card. That is so good. It's so cute. I emailed her and I said, you have to write a children's book and illustrate it. She said she wants to someday, so I'm encouraging her to do that because that is so amazing. I'm just stunned by that. Okay, she sent this beautiful square, which is on her Moray colorway, and her Dumble base, which is 75-25 superwash merino, 25% nylon. So pretty. Thank you, Emily. And she was so sweet to send along 2 mini skeins for me. Wasn't that sweet of her? This is her Spearmint colorway on her 80% superwash merino, 20% polyamide. And this is her Violet colorway, which is on the 75-25 blend. Those are so pretty. That was such a neat surprise. Thanks again, Emily. I appreciate that. All right, the next square is from Cottage Yarns. And this is on the Cottage Snow Queen colorway. And I thought it was so neat that she made this square to look like a snowflake as well. It was fitting with the colorway, I thought. And it has silver stellina in it as well. So pretty. Thank you so much. Okay, the next one is from Debbie of The Loving Path. She also has a podcast, which is wonderful. Definitely check it out. She's based out of Canada, and this is her signature colorway as well. It is The Loving Path. And it is on her Soul Sock base, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. That is such a stunning color. I love it. And I love the stitch she used as well, because it really just gives it some nice texture. So pretty. Thank you so much, Debbie. The next one is from Hannah of Chromatic Yarns. She also has a podcast. You can find her on YouTube at The Corner of Craft. And this is on her Acid, I think. Oh shoot, I'll have to put down the colorway down below because I didn't grab the right card that had it on there, but it's Acid something. Anyway, it's so stunning. I love this pop of green. That's going to be such a cool addition to the Afghan. And she included two of her pins. One is for her, sorry, I had it upside down. One is for her yarn business and one is for her podcast, I believe. So pretty. Thank you so much, Hannah. This came all the way from the UK, as well as Eden Cottage came from the UK as well, I believe. So thank you so much. All right, the next one is from Lindsay of Hello Stella. And she sent along this beautiful card and this cute tiny little mini. It's so adorable. And here's her stunning colorway. I love this colorway. That's so beautiful. It is called Lavender Latte, and the base is her Luxe Stella base. She has this little tag on hers. Very cute. So pretty. Thank you so much, Lindsay. And the last one I have to show you for today is from Taylor of Fiber for the People. She also has a podcast, which is called Wool Needles Hands. And this is on her, this is on her Cactus Flower colorway. Oh, that's so pretty. It looks so good on the screen. This is on her 80-20 base superwash merino nylon blend. That is beautiful. And extra points to her because she just had a little baby boy and still managed to squeeze in making this square for the Afghan. So I really appreciate you taking time to do that, Taylor. And just a huge thank you to all of the participants for this Afghan. I'm so thrilled to have all of you participating, and every single one of these squares is so special, and I'm so excited to see the Afghan come together. So I'm still waiting on a few squares, but I think there's only a handful of them left to come. So thank you so much to everyone who has participated and has taken the time to get those squares to me in a timely manner. I really appreciate it, and I will continue to keep you all updated as I receive the rest of the squares and then start piecing the Afghan together. So stay tuned. All right, I'm going to announce the winners for the I Think I Can Make Along now. We had, I think, 42 projects that were entered on the finished object thread. So thank you so much. It was so neat to see all of the different projects that people tackled. This knit along or make along was for us to tackle any project that we had been putting off, any skill or craft that we have been intimidated by and we didn't want to put off any longer. We wanted to tackle it. So I'm so thrilled that so many of you took on challenges and faced them and were able to succeed at making different crafts and different skills within crafts. So I just am really appreciative of you all participating in this make along. I'm going to be giving away 2 prizes for this make along. The first one was donated by one of the participants. This is the Backbone Socks pattern by Nicole Simmons. So pretty. So the winner will get a copy of this pattern as well as 2 skeins of alpaca yarn from Rolling Wood Alpaca Farm. They are the same. They're both natural color, although they did add some sparkle in it. So this is on their bling collection. So you can see that it's prettier in person than it's showing up on the screen, but it has a bit of sparkly fiber mixed into it, which is beautiful. This is on a sport base. So it's 250 yards per skein. So that is so pretty, and hopefully the winner will enjoy it. So the winner of this prize is Cozy Crochet on Ravelry, who is Nicole. So congratulations, you'll be winning these 2 skeins and the sock pattern. So I will, if you could get in contact with me through Ravelry, send me your address, and I will also get in contact with Nicole Simmons to send you the sock pattern as well. Then the second prize is the Sweet Sadie Socks pattern that I showed you earlier. Again, that's by Alyssa Greenlaw. You will also get a skein of my hand-dyed yarn, which comes in, all of my yarn comes in one of these hand-stamped project bags. And you will be getting my First Fruits colorway on my Twinkle Toes base, which is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% gold stellina. Comes with a stitch marker. I have a little owl stitch marker on here. And all of my colorways are based on a different proverb. This one comes from Proverbs 3 verse 9, which says, "Honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruits of all your produces." So it's just a nice pink, rosy pink base, and it has lots of different colors in there. So we got some deep burgundy, some fuchsia and purple, some specks of green and red. So it's a fun color. And you will also be getting these beautiful stitch markers from Rainy Knits, who is another podcaster you should definitely check out. Here is the set that you will receive. I have a set of these stitch markers as well. They are so well made. They are just wrapped, the wire is wrapped around there so nicely, and they're so lightweight. I love them. They're beautiful. Thank you again, Justine of Rainy Knits, as well as Alyssa and Nicole, for all donating prizes for this make-along. I really appreciate that. And this prize is going to Cheryl Lee. Congratulations, Cheryl Lee. She actually entered the most FOs of anyone. I think she had 7 different FOs, so she was definitely eligible for winning. I mean, she had high chances of winning, and she did win with actually her first entry of her first sweater that she ever made. Oh, and I forgot to mention that Nicole, who won the other prize, sewed her first project bag, which was exciting to see that there were lots of different crafts involved in this make-along. So congratulations, Cheryl Lee. She actually has won a prize before, so I do already have your address. So I will go ahead and just get this in the mail to you, and I will contact Alyssa to make sure she gets the copy of the sock pattern over to you as well. Again, congratulations, you too. Thank you again so much to everyone who participated in that make-along. I really appreciate it. All right, lastly, I have a set of 3 skeins of yarn from my shop that I like to show every time, a set of 3 skeins that would work together to make a shawl project. So this week I have these 3 colors, and I thought they looked really nice together. One of these is a new colorway. This one here is called Straight Paths, and I'm really happy with this. This was a custom order custom color that I did for a very sweet customer, and she is actually knitting this up into a lily cardigan like I made recently. And so we worked together to come up with this color through a few trial and errors. We came up with this combination, and I'm so pleased with it, and so is she, thankfully. So it's got this nice deep, or not deep, but this nice light brown base, and then it is speckled with deeper browns and some charcoal colors. So it's also painted as well as speckled. So I really am happy with this colorway. So again, this is called Straight Paths. And then this colorway is my Shield colorway. So just a nice deep brown. And the last color I picked was my Steadfast colorway, which is, it's really hard to describe this color, but I guess it's kind of like a rosy brickish, like a brick red, but more of a rosy color. I don't know. It's really nice though. So these three together, I thought worked well together. So that's my shawl set for this week. So all of my yarn, all of my bases, all of my colorways are available on all of my bases. I have 9 different bases from fingering weight to worsted weight, and they are all available all the time. So I just have one colorway I think that is non-repeatable, but most of my colorways are repeatable, and you can certainly go check that out if you are interested at my Etsy shop, which is noblecharactercrafts.etsy.com. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate any support of my business. I really do appreciate that so much. So we have had a great week. Spring is definitely, well, I told you that last week, that spring is definitely here, but you know, as spring comes in, it just is so exciting to watch everything grow. On Monday, we noticed that the maple tree outside of our kitchen window had tiny little leaves on it, and it's just like overnight, you know, the leaves grow so much. Now they're like actual leaves. I mean, they're still tiny, but they're actual leaves, and the grass is green because we've gotten quite a few little rain showers, which has been so nice. And we saw our first rainbow earlier this week. Well, it was just a piece of a rainbow, but we saw part of a rainbow, which was so neat. And we have a nice view to the east that in the evening, if we get a rain shower and then the sun shines, we are able to see if a rainbow shows up, we're able to see it really nicely on that side of the house, which is so nice. And we had actually just studied rainbows the day before during our school work. So that was extra special to be able to see the rainbow then the next day. My husband still hasn't started planting. He farms corn and soybeans, but it's been a little wet and he's working on his planter yet to get it ready to go. But he's hoping to start planting maybe this weekend if it's dry enough. We haven't had a ton of rain, but we have had a few light showers off and on. So it's a little bit too wet right now to plant, but hopefully soon. He still has time. It's okay. We're not too worried yet. I really appreciate you joining me today. Thank you so much. If you did enjoy this podcast, I would really appreciate you giving me a thumbs up. And if you would like to subscribe to this channel, I would really appreciate that as well. I hope you all have a wonderful week ahead. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye.